The two sessions, China's annual political season, brings together the country's lawmakers and political advisors to chart the way forward for the nation.
It captures the global attention as geopolitical and economic tensions rise.
So what impact will this have on Africa?
We take an in-depth look at China's two sessions and explore what lies ahead for Africa.
Join us for a special program on CGTN and the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
As we come on air tonight, the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has inked a deal with the Ministry of Health, calling off their strike. Also, we've got details of the changes in the parliamentary committees. That and plenty more is shaping the news tonight. But, as is tradition, the highlights. Tough times ahead. The cost of petrol likely to go up by almost 8 shillings in coming days. We tell you why.
Having agreed and executed this agreement, the union has made decision to call off the strike.
Clinicians call off their 2-week strike after a deal with the Ministry of Health.
Senyewe chanzo muhimu hatukuambiwa, ilikuwa tu ni kuchapwa, alafu mnaambiwa tunafunga mlango tena tunaenda tena, ukirudi tena ni kuchapwa.
And how many more illegal police posts are out there? The big question as police arrest 6 individuals operating a fake police post in Kakamega. Thank you for making time for us. This is Prime Edition. I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura is our sign language interpreter. Now, if you thought the story of a man running an illegal police post in Kasese, Uasin Gishu County was bizarre, think again. In Kakamega County, 6 individuals, including 1 woman, have been operating a fake police station, arresting residents and imposing fines on their victims and even feeding them. But what's even more shocking is that both male and female inmates were forced to share the same cell. Watch.
It is in this dilapidated house in Makaburini Estate in Kakamega town that 6 police impersonators, including 1 woman, have been running an illegal police station.
Hao vijana ni hatari sana, na yoyote ambaye angelitoa ile ripoti kuleta katika police station ama kuleta kwa assistant chief wangelimuua.
Kufika huko nikapata kuna wenzangu huko wanachapwa, pia mimi nikaingizwa huko na nikalala huko siku 3 kana chapwa.
The victims, both men and women, were forced to share a single room to eat, sleep, and believe it or not, use this bucket to relieve themselves.
Kama imekukaza tu unaingia tu ndani hiyo. Sasa hutaki kujua hata mwanaume kama ako hapa ama mwanamke. Sasa utafanya aje?
But that's not all. The suspects reportedly arresting local residents, holding them for a short period and demanding 300 shillings for their release. Those unable to pay, like this woman, were subjected to physical abuse.
Wakaanza kunipika wakaninyang'anya vitu, simu, pesa, simu moja nikapata, ingine sijapata.
The situation came to light thanks to Isaac Ayumba, the deputy chief of the area, who confirmed that many residents had fallen victim to this operation.
Nilikuja tukashikana na wenzetu nyumba 10, assistant chief, tukaenda tukafanya operation area hiyo. Tukapata ni ukweli, kuna watu wengi wamepigwa na kuwekwa katika seli yao ya bandia hiyo.
The suspects are now in police custody as investigations continue into what appears to be a significant security lapse in the area. Maria Ambo reporting for the Prime Edition.
Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja has condemned the operation of an illegal police post in Kesses, Uasin Gishu County. Speaking in Mombasa at the opening of the newly built Mbaraki police station, which was funded by Mvita Sub-County and GCDF, Kanja said that due process was not followed in establishing Kesses police station. He said they are looking into the matter to see how best to handle it.
Residents of Mvita Sub-County in Mombasa are celebrating the provision of security services closer to them with the opening of Mbaraki Police Station by the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja. But attention shifted to the recent revelation of an illegal police post being operated by a civilian in Kesses, Uasin Gishu County.
Ya kwanza mimi niseme hiyo ni makosa. Maana kuna taratibu ile inafuatwa. Wananchi wa hapa for example wakitaka station, kuna utaratibu ambao inafuatwa. Kuna kitu inaitwa public participation pamoja na leadership ya area fulani. Wao wenyewe wanaona kweli hapa tunahitaji kituo cha polisi ndio tuweze kuongeza usalama.
Kanja commended the effort by Mvita member of National Assembly Mohamed Machele in building Baraki Police Station and stressed the need for community policing to enhance security.
Usalama is a shared responsibility. Kwa jeshi la polisi na wananchi wakifanya kazi pamoja kunakuwa na usalama ya kutosha. Kwa hivyo nasidi kuwauliza tuendelee kufanya namna hiyo na mambo itakuwa iko sawa.
Decent shelter for police officers was also raised with the IG, promising to address it with the Housing and Planning Principal Secretary.
Space kwa station ziko nyumba kama 20, officers wako 50, wako 100. Tunaweza kuzungumza na Ministry of Housing tukawajengea nyumba zikaenda juu.
Hapa sasa mimi nikitoka hapa leo nikirudi Nairobi jioni wa leo kabla sijarara lazima nimtafute place yetu ya housing.
While commending police officers across the country for their commitment in maintaining law and order, the IG also urged them to uphold integrity in executing their mandate.
IG yetu, security yetu ni mzuri. Imekaa vizuri. Na mimi nataka kuwashukuru sana maafisa wetu ya polisi yote. Kwa upande yote ile wako kwa Kenya hii yote nzima. Na washukuru sana.
Slogan yenu inasema utumishi kwa wote. Tudumikieni kwa roho safi. Lakini wengine wakija huku pwani wanajua wanakuja kuvuna. Mama Kiswahili hawezi kubali mtoto wake alale njani. So sisi tunaomba polisi watakao kuja hapa ama ndugu zetu mnaofanya kazi hapa, kuweni na ubinadamu.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
7 minutes past the top of the hour, due for our first break. We circle back with plenty more, including business and sports. Stay with us.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
The two sessions, China's annual political season, brings together the country's lawmakers and political advisors to chart the way forward for the nation.
It captures global attention as geopolitical and economic tensions rise.
So what impact will this have on Africa?
We take an in-depth look at China's two-session and explore what lies ahead for Africa.
Join us for a special program on CGTN and the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
Welcome back. Let's continue to inform you. And our shocking case of a child abuse has left 2.5-year-old boy fighting for recovery at Harambee County Referral Hospital. Authorities say the toddler was allegedly attacked by his father following a domestic dispute with the child's teenage mother. As the young boy receives medical care, calls for justice grow louder, with rights activists condemning the act and demanding the protection of vulnerable children. Meanwhile, in a separate disturbing case, a 10-year-old girl remains hospitalized after an assault by her classmates.
He's just 2.5 years old, too young to understand why the one meant to protect him became the source of his deepest pain. The boy, now recovering at Harambee County Referral Hospital, bears the scars of an attack allegedly carried out by his father.
Baba yake ndio anafanyia, utapata kama hii kuna mtoto na napata mtoto alipigwa mbaya. Sasa mimi nakimbia paka kwa polisi.
Authorities say the brutal assault followed a domestic dispute between the father and the child's mother, a high school student. Neighbors, hearing the boy's cries, rushed in, but the damage was already done.
Polisi ona mtoto akiambia peleka mtoto Malindi hospitali. Sasa nataka kuanza siku hiyo na fuata paka saa hii paka Kajo Children chief.
Now under the care of medical staff, the toddler remains stable but under close observation.
We examined that child. The state is not, as at now, is not that badly off. Is manageable state, but the boy has several septic wounds on the back. It's not clear whether it was because of a stroke or whatever he was doing, but it was a serious assault case to the child. Currently, the child is in the hands of the surgeons there. Is being attended to and currently on medication. We hope the child will recover well.
Children's rights activists and local leaders have condemned the attack, calling for swift justice and urging communities to break the silence on child abuse. Meanwhile, another young victim lies in a hospital bed, a 10-year-old girl paralyzed after an attack by her classmates. Her crime, listing noisemakers in class. But that small act of discipline led to a violent retaliation. Beaten so severely, she now cannot move her lower limbs.
So when we received this child, she was actually paralyzed, both sides. Both lower limbs she couldn't walk, that is, and she's currently still bedridden, but right now she's showing some improvements in the ward.
2 young lives forever changed by violence, one within the home, the other within the school. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
President William Ruto says he will lead in building bridges amongst all political formations, regions and communities to foster unity of the country. He defended the UDA-ODM pact, saying it was not meant to benefit individuals, but rather assist in tackling challenges bedeviling the country. He toured Dagoretti South, Dagoretti North and Westlands, where he launched and commissioned various projects, including classrooms and digital innovation hub. Giverson Minor was there. He filed the following report.
On day 3 of his Nairobi County tour, President Ruto made his first stop in Dagoretti South constituency. Here he launched the construction of an open digital innovation hub and classrooms, among others.
In the next 4 months, mimi naleta kompyuta 200 hapa, vijana hawa wajipange na ajira ya digital jobs. Hapa pia tunaleta waalimu wa kuwafundisha hawa vijana. Na mimi nataka niwahakikishie, kama ni kazi majuu, kama ni kazi mitandaoni, kama ni kazi katika ile kazi yote tunafanya ya affordable housing na zile zingine zote, uko ndio tutapanga ajira ya vijana.
For heading to Dagoretti North, where he commissioned a chief camp among other projects. In Westlands, the president inspected the Kangemi Bridge under construction, the president using the tour to call for the closing of ranks amongst political rivals.
Na ni jukumu langu kama kiongozi wa taifa niunganishe Wakenya wote na viongozi wote, ili sisi zote tuungane, tufanye kazi kwa pamoja, tuondoe ukabila, tuondoe mambo ya dini, tuondoe ubaguzi, tuondoe chuki, ndio Kenya isimame, tuende mbele pamoja.
Tungetaka nchi yetu tuwe na uzalendo na tuwe na umoja, na sasa hivi ni wakati wa kujenga taifa letu na mshikamano wa jamii zote za Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Sisi tunajua kuna mengine mnazungumuza mungependa serikali itekeleze. Mheshimiwa Rais atachunga hiyo maneno, kama ni SHA itaundwa mpaka iwe ya kufaidi wa Kenya.
Defending his agreement with Raila Odinga, he said the UDA-ODM pact will enhance political stability and promote development.
Niliongea na baba, nikamwambia tuunganishe Kenya, tuunganishe Wakenya wote, na mimi nawahakikishia hakuna jamii, hakuna dini, hakuna sehemu ambayo itatengwa. Sisi wote tutatembea kwa pamoja, because we are one people with a common destiny.
The president also castigated the opposition leaders, saying some were inciting Kenyans for their own political gains. He was accompanied by Nairobi lawmakers from both the UDA and ODM parties. The president's clarion call as he made third-day tour of the Nairobi County in Dagoretti South, Dagoretti North and Westlands was the unity of purpose amongst Kenyans, saying it will give the country a moment for development. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition, in Westlands, Nairobi.
To some health matters now, and the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has called off its strike following negotiations with the Ministry of Health. The clinicians went on strike on 25th February 2025, demanding the implementation of the 2024 Return to Work formula, the posting of interns, and the absorption of universal health coverage clinicians under permanent and pensionable terms. Speaking during the signing of a Return to Work agreement at the Ministry of Health offices, Cabinet Secretary for Health, Deborah Baraza, acknowledged the government's commitment to addressing the key concerns raised by clinical officers.
And I appreciate the Ministry and the Council of Governors because they have given their commitment to fast-track the completion of the CBA, and also that now we can jointly be able to ensure that by the time the contracts for the UHC come to an end, they will be absorbed as had been agreed upon.
Having agreed and executed this agreement, the union has made decision to call off the strike, and our members are advised to resume duty immediately and not later than the next 24 hours.
At the council, we are willing to negotiate, to talk, to put ourselves in your shoes within the reality of our state of the economy.
What we have signed to is something that should have been done a long time ago. Maybe there was, government and bureaucracy, we should avoid so much of that.
The government remains committed to addressing the key concerns raised by our clinical officers while ensuring that the healthcare needs of all Kenyans are met without disruption.
Still on that health bit, Kenya requires 30.9 billion shillings annually to bridge the funding gap on various health programs following the stop work order by the United States government. The HIV program alone requires 5.24 billion shillings in the 2024-2025 financial year to cater for commodities as well as maintain the over 11,000 frontline healthcare workers to ensure continuity of services.
The implications of the stop work order by the United States government continues to be felt in Kenya, especially in HIV response, with 41,547 staff affected. Out of this number, 11,059 are frontline health workers who now require 3.9 billion shillings for maintenance in the current financial year. Another 1.2 billion shillings is required for distribution of HIV commodities in the current financial year. According to stakeholders in the health sector and governors who convened in Nairobi to chart the way forward, Kenya needs to scale up domestic financing and localize solutions for efficient service delivery to the over 1.4 million people living with HIV.
We have roads, we have other things, and we have health. We must say, what is it we are going to give priority?
Where is it that they can cut from, whether it's other sector health programs or whether it is in other programs like infrastructure, to bridge the gap so that we can say that we will be able to continue with providing drugs.
I am persuaded that this could be one of the best things that ever happened to us as a country. Because for how long were we expecting other countries, other taxpayers, to continue supporting very essential layer of health services?
We are engaging with other bilateral donors to anticipate and mitigate potential funding gaps. We have anticipated this shift. Following Kenya's reclassification from a low-income to a low-middle-income country, donors signaled an exit by 2030.
However, the session became heated, with the governors demanding to know why National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi did not show up to provide answers on the proposed funding roadmap.
My role here will be to go back and advise my Cabinet Secretary on the discussions that have and the deliberations that have taken place.
Honestly, for the National Treasury not to turn up, even send their permanent secretary, or somebody who can, that's why I said, you must be able to give us an answer. For you just to come here and tell us you are going to take note, honestly.
Treasury has sent somebody who has no brief, who has no instructions. We have come here, we have sat for 3 hours. We have left our counties, it's raining, we should be distributing fertilizer and seed. We are here and you are giving us stories about notes.
If you look at this table, there are more than 9 flags that were flying today coming to this meeting. Then you have seen the kind of response we have gotten. I think that is not going to be allowed.
According to data from the Council of Governors, Nairobi County has the highest number of staff supported by the US government, which stands at 8,803, followed by Kisumu with 3,759, Homa Bay 3,282, Migori 3,268, Kiambu 2,982, and Siaya 2,490. Nancy Okwari, Prime Edition.
Jet A1, cheza avieta bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Avieta bila data, avieta bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobets.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Welcome back. Now, the government has put in place measures to address internal and external security threats, including fighting terrorism and other organized crimes. Interior Principal Secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo says the National Police Service is working round the clock to ensure Kenyan borders are safe. Dr. Omolo further said the government will not relent in the fight against ethnic tensions, cattle rustling, and banditry in various parts of the country.
Broadly speaking, you will agree with me that what the police have been able to do over the years, or over the last 1 to 2 years, has been quite commendable. And in the few instances where there would be, or there have been excesses, those have effectively been dealt with or are under active investigation. At the end of the day, this country belongs to all of us, and each of us has a role to play. The security sector or the security actors have a bigger responsibility because the Constitution demands so of them. But as we do that, then the rest of the country needs to work with us. We are looking at some of the acts, like the National Police Service Act, the National Police Service Commission Act, and a number of other legislative arrangements following the recommendations that were made by the task force that the President appointed as soon as he came into office.
Tonight on cinemas and theatre, our focus is on the film On Air that touches on the power of media, the complexities of morality, and the chaos that ensues when lives hang in the balance of live radio. Here now is that review by Jacqueline Masharia.
Sun City Radio yaongoza kama fimbo ya nyayo.
The plot of On Air film centers around Ondivo, a criminal on the run who calls into Nairobi's popular radio station Sun City Radio after a botched robbery. The tension builds as Ondivo holds the city hostage through his radio broadcast, engaging in a live shootout with the police while simultaneously narrating his side of the story.
Manze watani mada man.
Ebu ngoja, nini naendelea hapa?
Hapa manze ni maridendo zinabonga. Hawa se wataniangusha na mimi sikudu.
The heart of the film lies in the radio presenter Rango, who becomes the moral compass and voice of reason in an increasingly dangerous and chaotic situation. But how did the idea of the film come to be?
On Air it's actually based off a true story. It's something that happened in Nairobi, I think the year 2008, 2010. So the basis of that story is that, whereby there was one time these guys had gone to do, it's pretty much a botched robbery. And then during the escape, they took a house hostage in Buru. And during that hostage situation, he called into a radio station and tried to negotiate his release, or rather his freedom, or so for him to be pardoned. So the story is based off that. So we took that incident and we created our own narrative in terms of what happens and the themes that we'll choose to address when it comes to the film. So some of the things the film addresses is social justice, also taking responsibilities for your actions, and also media ethics, the complexities of media ethics.
Come on, Charlene. At least help me mourn the death of the old days then.
I'm sorry, I don't even have anything to mourn yet.
The film's setting is unconventional, with all the action unfolding within the confines of a radio station. Ondivo, who is only heard over the airwaves, adds a layer of suspense as the audience, like Rango, is left to piece together the visuals of the crime from a series of phone calls between Ondivo, the police commissioner, and various listeners.
And if you don't, you find me another job.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
We actually filmed it at where Capital FM used to be stationed, at Londro House. It took us about, if I'm not wrong, 34 days. But because we were doing only weekends, so if you do, because we're not shooting during the week, but weekends we're filming. So that's the only time we got to shoot.
All right, next caller, hello?
Rango.
Yo, someone's kicking my guy.
Rango.
I can hear you. What's going on?
That's a big stone you have in that glass house.
Ati?
Hey, umenisikia?
Yo, do you have a question or a comment, caller?
Niko na maswali mo.
Well, then ask away.
Shouldn't it be you answering the questions?
Well, that's not how this show works exactly.
How exactly does your show work?
The film director notes that the standout aspect of On Air is its focus on the power of the media. The radio station becomes more than just a backdrop. It is a key character in the story, capable of shaping the narrative, controlling public perception, and influencing the outcome of the crisis.
Rango!
Hey!
The film raises questions about the responsibility of the media in times of crisis and the ethical dilemmas faced by those behind the microphones.
You know what? I should sue them.
Sue who?
I don't know, the internet, I guess.
You want to sue the internet?
Yes, the whole damn thing.
So far, so good. The response has been positive. We have our own platform. We are self-distributing because it's www.suncity-radio.com, because we're using it's a made-up radio station where it takes place. So it's our own platform where you can get to watch the film, and then you can actually go there, just watch the film, and then just see what it's about. But I'm sure you'll be entertained.
What happened?
Welcome to the new age, old man. Keep up or die.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Fun is getting a paycheck so I can sit in my house comfortably in peace.
One of the biggest winners in the second supplementary estimates is the security sector, as the National Police Service receives an additional 7.5 billion shillings to enhance security measures. Out of this, 2.5 billion shillings have been allocated to support Kenya's peacekeeping mission in Haiti. The health sector has also received a financial boost. The government has allocated 3 billion shillings to the Chronic, Emergency and Critical Illnesses Fund, while 600 million shillings will go towards operationalizing primary healthcare networks.
The National Assembly has begun considering the second supplementary estimates, with the defense sector set to receive an additional 6 billion shillings.
Some of the resources you see here, Honorable Speaker, going to the National Intelligence Service is to ensure that security measures in the country are enhanced, so that even as you issue out identity cards to Kenyans, we make sure that it is only Kenyans who are accessing our identity cards.
The funds are also expected to settle pending bills, which have impacted many businesses,
especially the small, micro and MSMEs, who have delivered goods and services of Ministry of Defense, many of who suffer and some are closing down their businesses because they are not being paid. And I want to plead with them to prioritize the small people.
Beyond security, the health sector has also received a financial boost. These funds are expected to address some of the challenges affecting the implementation of the Social Health Authority, including low funding for primary health care. The Teacher Service Commission has also been allocated 18 billion shillings, covering teachers' promotions and emoluments. University education has also received 16 billion shillings boost.
There are certain universities that are almost at the brink of collapse. One of them is Moi and the other one is Egerton. These universities require urgent measures to ensure that they stay afloat. And one of the things that I have noted here, Honourable Speaker, is that there is some little money that has been put aside.
Legislators expressed concern over managing debt and growing pressure for resources.
There's also pressure for expenditures. Honourable Speaker, when I sat in the budget committee last time, all sectors are looking for resources. The road sector is looking for resources. The education sector is looking for resources. The health sector. So this pressure for resources is going to be a very big challenge for us. And therefore, as a House, we must look for ways in which we are going to raise our own resources.
At the same time, National Assembly has approved budget ceiling of 2.523 trillion shillings for the 2025-26 financial year. During the consideration of the Liaison Committee report on the budget policy statement, the executive was allocated 2.447 trillion shillings. The county government equitable share has been set at 405 billion shillings.
Like now, we are proposed in the coming year, we are going to have a budget deficit of 4.3% of the GDP. But I can tell you for sure, Honourable Speaker, by the time we close the year, you find we are around 6% or 5.something%, meaning that we are using the supplementary budgets to widen the budget deficit.
This budget now sets the stage for detailed sectoral allocations as the government moves towards finalizing its spending plan for the coming financial year. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Shilingi 1,000. Toka kwa hiyo sanduku. Stoki. Kizongo mkuri. Rudisha hiyo pesa kwa sanduku namba 10.
Ongeza ifike 50.
Kwa nini? Anataka ukule popcorn ukitizama runinga, sawa? 100,000 Kenya shillings. Inch TV. 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yes!
Welcome back. Time for your business news now, and Wairimu Njenga is already here. Wairimu, what do you have for us?
Doreen, this evening. Great. We have a lot lined up for you, including high fuel prices with the implementation of recommendations from the second cost of service study. That's the story, our top story tonight. And we kick it off with Kenyans should brace for higher fuel prices as the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority moves to implement key recommendations from the second cost of service study for petroleum in Kenya. The review could drive up petrol prices by 7 shillings and 80 cents, diesel by 7 shillings and 75 cents, and kerosene by 7 shillings and 67 cents. IPRO Director General Daniel Kiptoo says the review is a delicate and balancing act necessary to ensure retailers remain profitable and continue investing in infrastructure and service quality, as Trevor Ngendo reports.
As part of its mandate, EPRA has regularly been assessing value chain elements that impact fuel pricing, network cost and overall sector efficiency through its cost of service studies. The first study done in 2018 led to significant changes, including the unbundling of pipeline services, a review of fuel margins, and new inventory financing mechanisms. However, with new legislative developments in the sector, EPRA in December 2023 contracted consultants to conduct the second study and propose necessary pricing adjustments. The new study evaluates factors affecting petroleum cost and pricing, including optimizing import cost and assessing pipeline and road transport expenses, storage tariffs, and inventory financing. The study recommends an upward review that will see petrol prices increase by 7 shillings and 80 cents, diesel by 7 shillings and 75 cents, and kerosene by 7 shillings and 67 cents.
A truck that is going to Mandera, for example, from Nairobi or from Nanyuki, it will still consume fuel to Mandera and come back. And again, also pay the driver the charges that they do pay. Because stakeholders have to be listened to. We spend a lot of time with the Transporters Association, and we verified information that they submitted to us, and that is how we adjusted our number.
Tomorrow the question will be, where is the regulator when this business is shutting down or moving to other jurisdictions? And again, it will be you, the fourth estate, saying, well, the business environment in Kenya is not very good, businesses are closing, businesses are moving to other countries. It's because we have not been able to strike the right balance of balancing interests of investors and consumers.
Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority says this will be implemented gradually to minimize the impact on pump prices for smooth transition for businesses and consumers. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
The National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has pledged increased budgetary allocations in the 2025-2026 financial year to enhance electricity generation, transmission and distribution. Mbadi noted that the government aims to generate at least 90% of Kenya's electricity from clean energy sources by 2027, with the goal of transitioning Kenya into a 24-hour economy. Now, Mbadi emphasized the need for prudent resource management, announcing that the government is in the process of implementing e-procurement by July 1st to curb corruption. Meanwhile, the Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen, has declared a dividend payout of 4.3 billion shillings to its shareholders. This follows a strong financial performance with a 6.8 billion shillings profit after tax for the year ending June 2024.
You have already expressed that there are certain projects which are in the pipeline that have not been concluded from the Treasury point perspective. That is the Olkaria 7. There is also the one in solar, and then the Gogo Hydro. So we must not be a bottleneck. The work of National Treasury is facilitative. We facilitate the rest of the government to be able to deliver. It is in our interest, because when the economy is functioning and performing, I don't have to go begging money from outside. We will be self-sufficient. So we must start thinking on how to survive on our own. We must prudently use the resources that we have.
And what we have as a country, as we speak, is what we call constrained power demand. Because we have areas that require power, but we are not able to deliver that power to those load centers. So with that increase of power, ability to deliver that power to those load centers, it means that the energy that KenGen is generating now will be able to be evacuated to all the load center, and it means more sales for KenGen.
I attribute this success to several key factors. First and foremost is the increased electricity generation. We have expanded and optimized our diverse portfolio of assets, which has led to higher production levels and improved operational reliability.
The government will invest an initial 200 million shillings for the operationalization of the Savings and Credit Cooperative Organization Deposit Protection Fund. Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya says the protection fund will be sustained by contribution from Saccos and will be used to compensate members whose Saccos collapsed.
Members of over 30 Saccos are at risk of losing 13 billion shillings after Cusco faced financial headwinds. According to a government-sanctioned forensic audit of the Cusco books, the organization has suffered from years of mismanagement. With more than 5 million depositors and more than 1 trillion shillings in deposits and assets, Saccos have become a major driver of socio-economic in Kenya. Yesterday, the Cabinet called for the fast-tracking of the Deposit Guarantee Fund to ensure protection of Sacco deposits, reduce government bailout risks, and strengthen the cooperative financial sector.
We do not want to police cooperative movement. We want to provide an enabling environment for them. We create proper policies for them to operate.
Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya says Saccos will be mandated to contribute to the kitty to sustain the fund.
So there will be a premium which will be determined by SASRA to be put in that fund.
The government will invest an initial 200 million shillings to operationalize the fund.
But the government is going to put in a startup fund of about 200 million to start the fund initially, set up the structures, have the staff, have the offices.
Oparanya says SASRA-regulated Saccos have shown interest in investing in the yet-to-be-established Central Liquidity Fund that will act as a lending and investment vehicle for Saccos.
So this money, what they do, they put in government securities, and you know the interest rate on government securities have gone down. So they are looking for other opportunities, and one of the opportunities will be central liquidity business.
Plans are also underway to expand SASRA's mandate to regulate Saccos whose asset base is below 100 million shillings. Benson Drioba reporting for Prime Edition.
The number of women represented in boardrooms has reduced to 35% from the previous 36%. This has been caused by gender stereotyping and patriarchal structural norms that continue to be stacked up against women in society. A report by the Kenya Institute of Management Board on Diversity, Equity and Inclusion is urging companies to implement policies that address gender pay gaps and promotion processes, as well as developing internal gender action plans.
Participation of women in the workforce is only just recovering from the recent surge in caregiving responsibilities, highlighting the urgent need for equitable care systems. A report by the Kenya Institute of Management Board highlights the significant gaps that exist in formal protections and provisions for parental leave, as well as the perceptions of men and women's participation in caregiving. To address this, organizations have been urged to implement policies that prioritize equal pay, flexible work arrangements, mentorship, training, and leadership commitment.
If there was a policy which required organizations to have a certain percentage of this gender in the organization, people who are able differently, a certain percentage, and those policies are enforced, doubtless they would have no choice but to follow those policies.
While these qualifications provide valuable expertise, we must also create space for younger leaders, emerging industries, and alternative perspectives that drive innovation and adaptability in governance.
They were also implored to incorporate the use of machine learning tools such as AI to identify bias in recruitment processes and to promote objective decision-making, ensuring that hiring and promotion decisions are based on merit rather than unconscious bias.
The report also underscores the importance of diverse educational backgrounds, professional expertise, and generational perspectives, which significantly enhance corporate decision-making and business resilience.
Further, the report recommends that the discourse should also shift to recognize women for their abilities, experience, and skills, rather than branding them as diversity trophies beyond the percentage of women on the board.
But diversity, equity, and inclusion is actually changing conversations from it being about me to it being about we. All right? So shifting mindsets from me to we, whatever that looks like. Gender is but one element of that.
Ndutamokami for Prime Edition.
And on that note, we wrap up business news for tonight, but we have more stories, Doreen, on our website at kbc.co.ke.
Yeah, and you say you should brace up for increased fuel prices.
Higher fuel prices. That is if that document is implemented.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Raymond Jenga, for that. Time for another breather. When we come back, sports news up next. Daniel Home is ready and stand by for that. Stick around. This is Prime Edition. We go for that break. We come back with that.
Jet A1, cheza aviator bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data, aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Chance goal! Cote d'Ivoire are back in the game!
The FIFA World Cup 2026 Africa qualifiers match schedule is up for match day 5. In Group F, the Gambia will host Harambee Stars on Thursday, the 20th of March from 10 p.m.
And which may show here. And yes, the breakthrough's there for Kenya.
Catch the action live from Alassane Ouattara Stadium in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, live and exclusive. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Home and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, the new Harambee Stars head coach Benny McCarthy has hit the ground running by calling up a provisional squad of 49 players to start preparing for the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against the Gambia and Gabon, scheduled for next week. Both matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1.
The squad boasts of a blend of foreign-based and local-based players who were reporting to camp today. Michael Olunga, who has been top-scoring for Aldo Hile, leads the strike force, which consists of, among others, Masoud Juma of Istiklal FC, Jonah Ayunga of St. Mirren, Jonah Avire of Port Suez, Alvin Mangeni of Kenya Police, and Ulinzi Stars' Boniface Mushiri. Australia-based midfielder William Lenkupaya has been given his first call-up to join the likes of Chris Etambo of Tusker FC, Austin Odhiambo of Gor Mahia, Duke Abuya of Yanga FC, Eric Johanna of Uta Arad, Richard Odada of Dundee United, Timothy Ouma of Slavia Praha, and Anthony Akumu. Youngsters Kelly Madada and Andres Odhiambo are also in the squad. So are goalkeepers Brian Bwire of Polokwane, Brian Opondo of Tusker FC, Ian Otieno of Richard Bays, and Farouk Shikalo of Bandari FC. The defense will also be manned by Brian Mandela of Stellenbosch, Daniel Anyembe of Viborg, Joseph Okumu of Stade Reims, Lewis Esambe of AFC Leopards, and Colin Sichenje. Harambee Stars are scheduled to play Gambia next week on Thursday at the Stade Alassane Ouattara in Ivory Coast from 10 p.m. before they host Gabon 3 days later at the Nyayo National Stadium. It is a busy week for the national teams, with the junior starlets doing final touches to their preparations for Sunday's FIFA Under-17's Women World Cup qualifier at home to Uganda, whom they beat 2-0 in the first leg in Kampala. The match is scheduled to kick off at 3 p.m. at the Nyayo National Stadium.
Now, Kenyan female drivers have a reason to smile ahead of the WRC Safari Rally in Kenya after the government announced sponsorship for a crew of 4 female drivers who will be participating in this year's Safari Rally, scheduled for the 20th to the 23rd of March in Naivasha.
The 4 teams of Pauline Shegu, navigated by Line Tayuko, mother and daughter crew of Tinashe and Caroline Gatimo, Jennifer Malik, co-driven by Wangoi Koi, and Lisa Christopherson, received the backing from the government through the Minister of Creative Economy and Sports. The move is part of the government's efforts in empowering women in sports, according to Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya, who challenged them to conquer the Safari Rally.
Support them so that they become role models, for motorsports in our country. And as you can see and motorsport is not very easy.
Meanwhile, Pauline Shegu navigator Line Tayuko's preparations got another boost after receiving 500,000 shilling sponsorship from Kengen. Pauline, a regular at the Safari Rally, is eyeing a podium finish in the ARC class.
Sport has long been associated with speed, adrenaline, and grit. But today, it must also become synonymous with sustainability, conservation, and forward-thinking solution.
Kengen used the occasion to announce several sustainability initiatives during the 2025 WRC Safari Rally, including electric vehicle charging stations powered by geothermal energy to reduce the event's carbon footprint, solar-powered infrastructure to minimize reliance on fossil fuels, and an energy-efficient rally village.
Championing net zero sports, ensuring that world-class events like WRC not only showcase speed and skill, but also a commitment to a cleaner planet. The Safari Rally's Kengen geothermal stage will be more than a test of skill. It will be a showcase of how Kenya is setting global benchmarks in clean energy innovation.
A total of 50 drivers are expected to grace this year's Safari Rally, including 10 top-level Priority 1 drivers and 16 WRC2 entries. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition.
Now, the national women's volleyball team, the Malkia Strikers, will face Poland, Germany and Vietnam in Group G of the 2025 FIVB Women's World Championship, to be held from the 22nd of August to the 7th of September in Thailand. The draw for the qualified teams was held in Bangkok in readiness for the tournament that has attracted 32 teams.
The selection process for players who will form the Malkia Strikers team to the FIVB World Championship began this month, just 5 months to the global event set to be held in Thailand. The selection will include new talented young players who will team up with experienced players and is expected to be completed 2 months before the tournament to give the young players enough time to train for the global event. Malkia Strikers have been pulled in Group G together with Poland, Germany and Vietnam. The other 2 African teams in the competition, Egypt and Cameroon, have been pulled in Group A and H respectively. Egypt will play hosts Thailand, Netherlands and Sweden, while Cameroon will face Japan, Serbia and Ukraine. Meanwhile, the KVF Kenya Cup first edition will resume tomorrow to 16th of this month at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. There will be only one women match to be played tomorrow, pitting Kenya Prisons against Postbank, which will serve off the games tomorrow at the arena before 4 other men's matches are played. In the men's matches set for tomorrow, GSU will face APK, Kenya Army will play KPA, Chema Volleyball will face Trailblazers, while Kapu face Kenya Prisons.
Now, Kenyan rally drivers Minesh Rathod and Ishmael Azeli have one goal in common: to finish the event. The 2 drivers upped their preparations, doing last-minute adjustments to their cars in their respective garages ahead of the WRC Safari Rally next week.
Will be navigated by Gordon Noble in a Mitsubishi Evo 10R4 has his approach for the Safari Rally figured out, hinting of the required mental fortitude for one to conquer the rally.
Mentally, I haven't tested the car yet. It's on finishing. If we'll manage to test it today, tomorrow, for a couple of days, then I can plan mentally that what goal I can achieve.
The driver, who has participated in Safari Rally 11 times, will be banking on his performance to woo partners critical to his quest to participate in the Africa Rally Championship legs, even as he remained guarded on his targets.
Obviously, I'm aiming best results if I can achieve, and I have to try to achieve that. I'm definitely giving my best.
Minesh, who recently acquired the Evo 10, hopes the machine will give him an edge over his competitors in WRC2 class.
Rigid, quite strong car. If it's well maintained, it's a Safari finisher and can achieve also podium. Yeah, I mean it's hard to say to keep up with P1 obviously, and R5s, but if this vehicle is being handled correctly and with a qualified, serious good driver, can achieve a podium.
Yeah. So as to get the maximum performance from the car, Minesh roped in seasoned Mitsubishi technician UK's John Easton, who is helping him spruce up the car ahead of the race.
It's just an all-round good package. The Mitsubishi is very reliable, the engine is very good, the suspension is very good, and it's proven to be a winning car. So.
Meanwhile, Ishmael Azeli will be targeting to finish the race and ruled out going flat out during the Safari Rally.
Out thing is not my way to go about this. It's not my plan for this year. Because I think one of the things I messed up last year was flat out, and we were leading for continuously 2 days up until we blew up the engine.
After coming close to finishing the race last year before he blew up the engine, Azeli appears to have learned from his debut Safari Rally campaign.
Winning is definitely part of the target, but it comes up with a plan, which we are already doing right now. But finishing is also part of the target. For me, it's the finishing, and then the win comes.
With several changes made ahead of next week's race, Azeli, backed by betting from Betika, is hopeful of going one better this time round. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition.
Now, best performing coaches will once again be rewarded every month after the Sports Journalists Association of Kenya signed a sponsorship deal with betting firm Betika to reward deserving monthly coaches from the grassroots to the top tiers of all sports across the country. The deal comes as SJAC celebrates 8 years since the award was inaugurated. The recipients of the awards include, among others, Strathmore women's hockey coach Tim Meshach Senge and coach of the NCPB handball team Brian Matthews. Dennis Mwanjo of the National Women's Rugby Sevens team, the Kenya Lionesses, was the first recipient of the award after it was upgraded to cut across all sports.
This is a very good initiative, a step in the right direction to start appreciating our coaches. So as we get into this, a message to our athletes, at least you can go into the future knowing that you'll have people behind you nurturing your talent and pushing you forward, being motivated.
And that's the sport for tonight. And remember, more coming through, and we'll be talking about, a new competition in volleyball, the Kenya Cup happening at Kasarani, top-tier volleyball for men's and women's volleyball teams, and also building up to the Safari Rally, and also a weekend that's going to be filled with drama. We know the Harambee Stars are preparing, but we also remind you the under-17 girls would like to see them qualify for the third round of qualifying for the Under-17 FIFA Women's World Cup. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. See you tomorrow. Back to Doreen Arange.
Thank you, Wahome, for that. And that's all the time we had for you tonight. This has been Prime Edition. We appreciate and value you for your company. I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter. Good night.
Kupitia *570# tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza *570#, chagua option 3. and for only 35 shillings. Hey gari, inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial *570# and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
nĩ ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
haha nĩ harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hot,
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma.